Once upon a time, in a small and peaceful village surrounded by green hills and quiet rivers, there lived an old man named Thomas, a simple gardener who did not have much money or a big house, but every single day, without fail, Thomas was seen smiling, and people from all across the village would come to sit near his garden, not just to see the flowers, but to feel the calm that surrounded him. One afternoon, a young man named Daniel came to visit Thomas. Daniel was smart and hard-working, but lately life had been weighing heavily on his shoulders. He had lost his job, his savings were running low, and every morning he woke up feeling heavy inside. So he sat beside Thomas and asked, "Thomas, how are you always so calm and so happy? Life has been so hard for me lately. I try to stay positive, but I keep failing. What is your secret?" Thomas stopped watering his plants, turned to Daniel with a gentle smile and said, "My boy, let me tell you something that took me many years to understand. When I was a young man, not much older than you, I had a loving wife, two healthy sons, and a small farm that gave us everything we needed. But one summer, a great flood came to our village and destroyed our farm, took away our crops, our animals, and almost everything we had worked years to build. I sat on what was left of my land and cried for 3 days straight. But on the fourth day, my younger son, who was only 7 years old, came and sat beside me, picked up a small seed from the wet ground, looked at me with innocent eyes and said, 'Papa, if we plant this today, maybe something beautiful will grow tomorrow.' And that small sentence from a child changed everything inside me. I realized that I had been spending all my energy looking at what I had lost instead of looking at what I still had. The flood took my farm, but it couldn't take my hands, it could not take my mind, and it could not take my love for my family. So I made a firm decision that I would not let my pain become my identity. I would not let my loss become my life. And I developed 3 simple habits that saved me. Every morning I find just one thing to be grateful for, even if it is only the sunlight or a warm cup of tea. Whenever something bad happens, I ask myself, will this matter 5 years from now? If yes, I take action. If no, I let it go. And every evening I remind myself that this day will never come again, so I must not waste it being angry at things I cannot change." Daniel sat quietly for a long moment, thought about his lost job and his worries, and slowly a small smile appeared on his face, the first real smile in weeks, and he said, "Thomas, I think I've been waiting for my life to become perfect before I allowed myself to be happy." Thomas laughed warmly and replied, "Now you understand. Happiness is not waiting for perfect. Happiness is choosing to find beauty in imperfect. Life will never be without problems, Daniel, but every problem carries inside it a small seed, the seed of something new, something stronger, something better. Your job is not to avoid the storms. Your job is to learn how to dance in the rain." Daniel left that evening a different person. His problems did not disappear overnight, but something inside him had shifted. And week by week, slowly but surely, he rebuilt his life, found a new job, made new friends, and grew stronger. But most importantly, he found a peace inside himself that no situation could easily take away. Word spread through the village about Thomas and his wisdom. People began visiting his garden one by one, young and old alike, and slowly the whole village changed. People argued less, smiled more, and helped each other more, because they all began to understand what Thomas had always known, that happiness is not something you find outside, it is something you grow inside. Thomas lived many more years tending to his garden and his community, and when he finally passed away at a very old age, the villagers planted a garden in his memory, and in the center of that garden they placed a small stone with the words that Thomas had often said, "Every storm runs out of rain, every night turns into morning, and every heart that chooses hope will always find its way to happiness." So, dear friends, life is not always easy. There will be days when things fall apart, when the road feels too long and the weight feels too heavy. But always remember the lesson of old Thomas. Happiness is not a destination. It is a decision you make every single morning. Find one thing to be grateful for, let go of what you cannot control, and never stop planting seeds, because you never know which one will grow into something truly beautiful.